Guinea stopped early Wednesday at 3 a.m. The official death toll stands at 39 dead and 21 persons injured. We were at the site this afternoon, and some family members told us they were satisfied with the search and they remain in pain. And the trickling reports from the far north region indicates that over 24 persons lost their lives. Some 9,000 others forced to flee their homes as a result of Boko Haram attacks in the months of May of this year. And the rate of corruption on the main transit corridors linking Douala, Banki, Douala, Jamina is alarming. The disturbing situation has been described in a report made public by the Observatory of Abnormal Practices, which see the cause of bribery on the Douala Banki corridor, which is the shortest in terms of kilometers, leaves truckers in a dilemma. Those are major stories. Details right ahead.
Canal International.
Good evening once more. Works in search for more corpses at the collapsed building site at the Bong, precisely behind Mobi Guinea, stopped early Wednesday at 3 a.m. The official death toll stands at 39 deaths and 21 persons injured. We were at the site this Wednesday afternoon, and we met some family members who said they were satisfied with the work, the search done so far. More in the following story. This is what is left of the collapsed building site after close to 4 days of intense search in the rubble for more corpses on the ground. What is now left are these debris this Wednesday, described as day 4. We were told by the city mayor that works had stopped at 3 a.m. Wednesday afternoon, we met a calm area with few persons still camping around the site. This time around, no cries. We walked past the security belt and moved down to the incident site. All we could find are a few security persons and the caterpillars, all stationed. We met a few persons who had been occupying the building for over 10 years. They are satisfied with the search of more corpses that has finally come to an end this Wednesday.
If the search is over, I'm satisfied of it, because if it is not over, you will see many people will be crying that I have not seen my person, I have not seen my family. But if it is quiet, is that everybody is satisfied.
A few minutes later, the council truck drove in, thus marking another process. Rubble from the tragedy are being cleared off. The official death toll as of Wednesday afternoon stands at 39 deaths, 21 survivors, giving a total of 60 victims. As many watch closely, they keep pondering some family members of survivors undergoing treatment at the Lankentini Hospital have decried what they have described as failed promises of government to provide survivors with a free treatment. As earlier indicated, some of them have evaluated a budget to over 800,000 francs CFA. Meantime, the Douala City Mayor was at hospitals today to condole with some of the survivors. More in the following story.
On espère que l'opération de ma nièce va bien se passer. C'est aujourd'hui.
Treatment is not free in hospitals for survivors of collapsed building behind Mobi Guinea.
On ne sait rien. On ne sait pas à hauteur de combien, à quoi. Bref, tout ce qu'on sait, c'est qu'il faut que tout ce que l'hôpital demande, on paye.
This man is bitter at the non-respect of government's earlier announcement to ensure free treatment of all survivors undergoing treatment at the Lankentini and military hospitals. He tells me he buys every single medication and pays for treatment for his niece who was injured in the incident. He evaluates the present expenditure at over 800,000 francs CFA with no assistance coming from government. Besides the money spent already, she's still supposed to undergo surgery. That's notwithstanding the trauma she's subjected to.
Toutes les factures des urgences jusqu'à maintenant. Ouais. Donc nous sommes presque à plus de 800 000 actuellement.
The city mayor has the same explanations.
As you have heard, according to it was when it happens, nobody knows exactly what to do, and this is why, the reason why some people have to pay it. But as I said, we are going to take in charge all of this, and I'm waiting that people, those who are still in the hospital, that they came out, and we are going to see what to do.
It should be noted, 11 victims, including children, were transported to Lankantini Hospital for immediate treatment. Out of the 11, 3 have been discharged. During a visit to console victims, Douala City Mayor announced measures to curb the worries of victims.
Surely before the end of this week, we have to put down some building which are present.
We now talk about the mayor of Douala 5 council area. We equally building site to check on work done so far. It was accompanied by other councillors and council officials. They all dropped flags at the site, a way of paying homage to the fallen Cameroonians. According to the mayor of the Douala 5 council area, measures are in the pipeline on how to settle survivors who are constantly stranded and without homes. A council session is expected to hold tomorrow, Friday, with focus on victims of the collapsed building site and seek means of preventing such incidents in the near future. And trickling reports from the far north region of Cameroon indicate that over 24 persons lost the month of May this year. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs says the frequency of attacks blamed on the Islamic militias is on the rise in that part of the country. More with our reporter, Tariq Divan Jr.
A report by the UN Office for Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, reveals that Boko Haram insurgents killed not less than 26 people across the far north region in the month of May this year. The UN agency notes in passing a renewed uptick in onslaughts linked to the group in recent weeks. According to collected figures, a total of 62 attacks were recorded in the Mayo Sava, Mayo Tanaga, and Logon and Chari divisions during the month of May. This brings to 9,597 the number of people newly displaced in the far north region since January 2023, according to the UN agency.
And for some time now, the city of Douala has been littered with garbage here and there and in large quantities. They are visible everywhere in markets, supermarkets, houses, and even schools. Inhabitants, passerby, and even traders have no choice but to deal with the garbage heap. Municipal authorities have called on the population to respect rules of hygiene. More on the story with our reporter, Saleh Sharifa.
This is Peka Wheat in Douala, where garbage has taken control of these streets. Same situation here at Daido in front of this supermarket. The garbage gradually settles and makes movement in this area difficult. The situation has influenced the lifestyle of the population and the business of traders. Meeting the service in charge of sanitation in Douala 5 districts, they say the population is a contributing factor to the situation. by explaining to them that there are appropriate places to deposit garbage. The Receiving a Citizen's Day that has been put in place every Thursday, we have discovered that people prefer to go out and wait till 11 a.m. to open their shops.
Les populations préfèrent sortir, attendre 11 heures pour ouvrir leur magasin.
Faced with this situation, the municipal council contributes in keeping the town clean, but how effective is their contribution? We strive to fight against urban disorder every day, trying to bring everything so that the city can have a good image. But I have seen that our population fail to adhere 100%. Despite the efforts led by the municipality, incivism remains the main obstacle to total hygiene, pushing Douala to remain flooded with garbage.
Of Cameroon have expressed the need to stop the importation of old vehicles serving as major pollutants in the country. The Minister of Transport, Jean-Ernest Ngalebibehe, says the different stakeholders are working on elements that can permit the implementation of that policy. Hisencha has the rest of that story.
Studies have revealed that more than 30,000 vehicles are imported into Cameroon yearly, and the importation is dominated by used cars with more than 15 years of lifespan. Consequently, the cars are constituting a major threat to the Cameroonian environment, acting as elements of high pollution. Presenting the results of the studies on July 25th in Yaoundé, experts recommend a major policy change in such a domain.
The main recommendation is to the limitation of the age of the vehicle at 5 years. It seems to be impossible, but it can be useful for the economic, because when you have new vehicle, the expenditure for the vehicle, for the maintenance of those vehicles is less than when you buy an old car.
And to implement such a drive in the long run, there is need to seek appropriate mechanisms with the different stakeholders.
The ministry is engaging to move forward by working with other ministries to see how to perform the quality of the fuel. For example, how to deal with the custom services to perform the policy of importing vehicles in Cameroon.
The initiative is geared towards the importation of vehicles that are less pollutant as the country battles against the rising phenomenon of global climate change.
And the rate of corruption on the main transit corridors linking Douala, Bangui, Douala, Jamina is alarming. The normal practices we see the cause of bribery on the Douala, Bangui corridor, which is the shortest in terms of kilometers, have been described as truckers in dilemma. Gladys Ambodibang has the rest of that story.
The rates of checkpoints and harassment on this corridor linking Douala, Cameroon to Bangui in the Central African Republic is alarming. The Observatory of Abnormal Practices indicates that on the 1,435 kilometers route, there exist about 80 stop points, including 57 checkpoints, 40 of which are found on the Cameroonian side. As a result, truckers leaving the Central African Republic on their way back to Douala spend on average 64,000 francs CFA on these stop points and a maximum of 225,000 CFA francs. This is far above the expenses of just 22,941 on average and 126,000 on the Douala-Jamina corridor, which is longer with 1,934 kilometers as against 1,435 kilometers route for the Douala-Bangui corridor. The survey by the Observatory of Abnormal Practices states that the expenses incurred by truckers at these checkpoints include, amongst others, illegal fees, which they term convoy fees of 50,000 francs CFA, which they pay to the police, gendarmes, road safety agents, and/or custom officers for security purposes. They equally pay custom fees for additional goods transported aside the goods declared in transit transporters unions. To imagine that the close to tens of thousands of truckers ply these main corridors, it is quick to envisage the huge amount of money collected on the multiplicity of these checkpoints that do not enter into government's coffers. It is still unclear why these checkpoints keep multiplying despite the existence of institutional measures to combat the phenomenon. These by limiting the number of checkpoints to 3 on the Douala-Bangui corridor and to 5 on the Douala-N'Djamena corridor.
And for the first time since he became a ruler, Nabil Mbonjoya has visited the Bamoun indigenes living in Cliquez with the host communities while being each other's keeper. Saleh Sharifa completes the story for us.
Full of joy, not familiar with this environment but attracting everyone around here, Bamoun origins resident in Kribi town in the south region of Cameroon welcomed their traditional leader. From all parts of the town, dressed in their traditional regalia, they exhibited their loyalty for their sultan while showcasing the culture of the Bamoun people. I believe that African culture is taking over. People used to neglect tradition and culture, but today, look at what a young man like the sultan is doing for his people, and we are ready to encourage him in whatever he does as commitment. Mforifu Nabil Mbonjoya is visiting the region and his people for the first time after his enthronement, October 8, 2022, addressing his kindred. He tells them to be law-abiding, to live in harmony and peace with host communities, while being each other's keeper. The monarch also presented his 27-year development plan for his community. These people who have always reached out to me, these people who have always been by my side, these people who have adopted me as a son of the noon. It was a great pleasure to welcome my national president, the Sultan, here in the Ocean Department. In a total fusion of cultures, the Batanga people of Kribi and the Bamouns showcased their cultural identities to the delight of the senior divisional officer of the South region, Nuhu Bello, and the Queen of the Batangas, Lohove Gael Michel Mahove.
And that report by Saleh Sharifa brings us to the end of this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. Thanks so much for watching. But coming up next is our debrief with Lil Piaget. So we'll be back same time tomorrow. Good night.